Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out League of Evil. This is apparently a Flash game port. I've heard about this being a Flash game a couple of times, which is kind of funny because I'm currently working on a sort of project to archive Flash games and I've never even heard of this one, but whatever, let's just go have a quick look around before we really go and hop in. You've got music and sound volume, you've got your language, you've got auto replay, which I imagine just replays the level once you have finished it. You can turn off the gore if you like, but the gore isn't really that bad in comparison to a bunch of other games I've played. And you've got controls. Now, the one thing that annoyed me about this control setup is that you can only pick between these three. And my personal preference would be using X to jump and square to attack, but for whatever reason, that's the only one they haven't included in that setup. I don't know why. The question mark just takes you to the credits, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. So, you got stats, but it doesn't tell you how long I've been playing for, which is the one I would be most worried about. I've been playing this for just under an hour. About 5 to 10 minutes under an hour. Trust me, you don't need much longer than that. You've got 4 chapters. I've unlocked 3 of them and tried out all of them, and we can just go hop straight in. I'll just pick the level I'm up to in the first chapter to start us off. So this was a failure. This is League of Evil. It is a very, very basic platformer. We are talking like the most simple you can imagine. Those controls, attack and jump, are the only controls you need to worry about. I am not even kidding. There are no other controls whatsoever in this game. And the general idea is that you have to get to the end of whatever the stage is. You have to find the scientist, and you have to punch his face off. Observe. And that's basically it. That's legitimately the entire game. Like, in a nutshell. Like, you do have those... Whoops. You do have those, brain work with me here. Those briefcases to collect in every level. And the briefcases, oh dear, this does appear to be making my Vita have a fit, which is really quite unfortunate. I'm just going to look at my screen for a minute, see if I can get to this next area without the game. There we go. It's making my Vita have a fit, as you can see. But the general idea of the game is very simple. You just got to get to the end and kill the dude. Do it fast enough and you get 3 stars. You've also got those briefcases, which is, as far as I'm aware, don't actually do much of anything. Oh great, I have to go through this again. They might unlock, like, the other chapters a fair bit earlier. But other than that, they don't really seem to... That is entirely my kit playing up, by the way. It's not the game, it is the recording kit deciding that it doesn't like the solid colors it's got going in the background. But yeah, pick up the briefcase, don't know what they do. Mainly just there for trophy bait. The entire trophy set for this game is as follows. Finish every level with 3 stars, get all the briefcases, kill a bunch of dudes. That's pretty much the entire long and short of it. That is the entire game, and there is there's nothing special to make it stand out. Nothing, anything like that. This is going to suck. You know what? Jump cut for just a moment. So, funny story here, I've actually cut the game's resolution in half, because that's actually one of the ways to get over the weird limitations that my Vita recording kit has. And thankfully, I'm actually able to do that with no interlacing, so hopefully that will help with the game's lag issues on big bits of solid color, and the game really doesn't look that much different. You see that it's looked, that it looks a fair bit sharper in the, last couple of minutes of the video, so you don't have to worry too much about it looking too different from what it looks like now. So what else is there to talk about, really? I mean, the game is as it looks. Like, there's really not that much else to it. You've got, like, neat level designs, and sometimes you've got, like, a couple of weirdo enemies to worry about, but for the most part, it's just dudes that shoot at you from time to time, and dudes that don't, and... Well, there's one thing about the level design I don't like, although it's not really so much the level design as much as the fault of the camera. The problem with the camera is that it's too zoomed in, so it's hard to tell that certain obstacles are going to be there until it's too late to avoid them. That there was somewhat my fault. We'll get onto that shortly. But yeah, the camera is just a bit too close for my liking. Sure, you can learn the patterns of a level and then come back later having memorized said pattern and... fuck me. Having memorized said pattern and then just go through the level properly while you know what's there. But the first time you go through a lot of these levels... fucking controls, I swear to God. The first time you go through any of these levels, you're mainly going to be at the mercy of the camera. There's no way to move... there's no way to move the camera around, like with the right analog stick or something, in order to see what it is that you actually need to be doing. So, you'll just end up in a position where there'll be an obstacle that you won't see coming in your path somewhere. You'll die to it, and then you'll know that it's there the next time you need to come along and actually, you know, deal with that obstacle. Which kind of sucks in all honesty, because I like games that can reward spontaneous action alongside memorization, and this game's definitely more on the memorization side of things. Just because there are not only obstacles that you really can't see until you're in danger of actually getting hit by them, but at the same time, there are patterns that you will need to basically memorize in order to stand a chance of succeeding at. Let's go and have a look at another chapter, although it's not really that much different. They're just... well, sometimes there's visual differences, and sometimes there's actual layout differences, like those spikes there. But really, it's not that much different in the grand scheme of things. And when it turns into a memorization sort of game, it's just turns into one that I don't really like, mainly because you end up having to do a certain set of things perfectly in order, and I just get really frustrated by those sorts of games because it's just action queuing on your bloody fingers. It just turns into a test of muscle memory more than a test of, like, well, not so much actual skill, but like spontaneous skill, which I like a lot better than your typical memorization platformers. Although I will give it credit for having good, well, I don't want to say good controls, but I want to say fluid controls, because this game's controls are so fast and responsive that you might argue they're too fast. You can go skidding around a bit just by a tiny little tap of the button, and it can get frustrating pretty quickly when you just go flying into something you didn't mean to, because the controls are just that responsive. The game's performance is absolutely fine too. There have been some performance drops that I've noticed, but just like that other game that they put out on Vita, Square Boy vs. Bullies, or something like that. I think that was the name of it, Square Boy vs. Bullies. The game will actually slow down when a trophy pops up. However, it relies on the built-in trophy prompts to show that there's a trophy, so if you have the trophy prompts turned off like I do, then you will not see the trophy, the game will slow down, and you'll be like, what the fuck's going on? Damn it. Alright, let's go check out chapter 3. Which, really, it's basically no different. They look a little bit different, but the gameplay is the same. More or less. It's just a lack of variety that really kills it for me. Okay, I showed that you could get that. Now I'm going to try and actually do the level proper. And try and do the level proper. Fuck you. Here we go. It's just a lack of variety that kills it for me. There are a couple of other things you can do. Like, there is a full-blown level editor. But since there's no, like, online level sharing, it means that you just end up in a situation where you're making levels more or less for yourself. But I don't find levels made for yourself to be anywhere near as engaging, just purely because you basically had to make them and, like, solve their inherent, like, challenges in order to actually make them enjoyable. So why would you bother making your own levels for yourself, right? So yeah, it's just the overall lack of variety. Like, you start up the game on the loading screen and you see like a line of 4 characters. And you expect these 4 characters to be like the 4 classes or whatever you can take in the game. But for whatever reason, there are no extra character classes. It's just this dude. This dude who can only punch people. So you just end up in this annoying position where you think that there's going to be a bunch of variety and stuff, but then you just end up playing the same levels over and over. Well, not so much the same levels, but you end up playing similar levels with the one dude who can only do a short-range punch, and it just gets really dull after a little bit. Thankfully, the game doesn't have much to actually, like, get in the way. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? So, the game's got, like, 100-something levels. Well, actually, a fair bit more than 100-something levels in it, but the levels themselves are all really short. Like, you've seen me play through a bunch of levels here, and all of the levels are just really flippin' short. There's nothing in the way of, like, really long ones, thank God, because having to go through a really long level in this game would be like torture, having to learn it. But there's just a general lack of variety that really kills it for me, which is disappointing, to say the least. That was a horrific fail on my part. You could come back and try and finish these levels for faster times if you want to. That's always a possibility. You don't have to get the briefcase to get 3 stars, you just need to finish the level as fast as possible. Oh, god damn it. I swear to god, these controls are just that bloody responsive. You just go flying if you just accidentally press the button once or twice. It can get quite frustrating. But there's really nothing else to it. At least they're not complete dicks. The game overall costs $5, which is definitely on the cheaper side of things, and honestly, it's a price I approve of because I can't imagine anyone wanting to pay anything else for this. It's okay. It really is. Like, the game's performance is fine. The concept is solid, if a bit basic. There's no story to speak of. Well, I should say there's no story worth speaking of. The overall quality of the game, I mean, it works, it does what it does, and it does it perfectly fine, but I mean, you could find other variations on this sort of concept that work a fair bit better. Like, 10-Second Ninja X would be my... Like, if I had to pick a game over this one that was roughly the same sort of thing, I would go for 10-Second Ninja X. I hate these fucking hammers. Ten-Second Ninja X just does this same sort of concept, but better. And I appreciate it a fair more than I do League of Evil. Of course, League of Evil is a fair bit cheaper, and while I'm not going to say that it's a bad game, I'm just going to say it's an unexceptional one. And personally, I wouldn't recommend it just because you've got so many other better things to be doing with your time. And that's a shame, but I mean, it came out decent enough, and it's a Ratalaika game, and you know, considering what people like Ratalaika, and especially sometimes you, I hate to put the two together, but they are relatively similar. The general level of what they put out is generally around this level. level of quality, level of game, you know, that general sort of thing. Wow, didn't see that coming, did I? Yeah, there's a stop I told you about. I'm willing to bet I literally just got a trophy for that. Yep, told ya. But yeah, this is generally on the level of what they put out, but at the same time, wow, I'm willing to bet that's the way I actually have to go. How the fuck do you even get up there? It's not bad, but it's not great. It does its job, and you've been watching me play it for the last 15 minutes at this point, so generally you'll know if this appeals to you or not. But as I said before, fuck me. Okay, I'm guessing that I have to go and take out the lower dude first because he throws out stars less quickly. If I can just actually pull it off. Damn it! It's this fucking shitheel, I swear to God. Alright, yeah, I'm done. I'm not gonna play this anymore. These sorts of games just frustrate me. But yeah, that was a look at League of Evil. It's... oh, well, we might as well have a look at the level editor. There's all your objects. All your different kinds of enemies. The ones that'll like do things like throw out ninja stars. And you can change the size of the map. And you can change the style of it, which is just the way the graphics look. And you can go from place or erase object. You can erase a mission, save a mission, test the mission, and if I hit the start button, I can go back to the level editor, and I can go to custom missions, and play the mission I just made. Punch, punch, get the briefcase, and kill the dude. It's that simple, really. But yeah, that was a look at League of Evil. It's not a bad game, not by any means, but it's not an exceptional one either. The same concept has been done better by different games before on the Vita, and while this is only $5, which is a good justification for that sort of gameplay and style, I personally still not that big of a fan of it, and I wouldn't recommend it over something like 10-Second Ninja X. So there you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.